Let's do the little smile thing. Happy Valentine's Day! Yay! Okay, good. All right. And then I always do a little shaky shake. Here we go. All right, Eden, Just Be Spiritual Boom here. And let me, feel my heart. We're recording this on Valentine's Day, and I'm putting my pencil down. Pia and Cullen are back again, and I feel that these two guys are the real deal. So please say hello, and I'll reintroduce you again after I talk a little bit. Hello.
Hi, Eden and listeners. We are delighted to be sharing this special day with you.
We really, absolutely, truly enjoy speaking with you. The communication that we create together it's just a wonderful sharing, and we really love it.
Yay. Oh, so fabulous. So they were on episode 41. So if you want to go back and watch that too, is really great. And now we're on episode 55, which is awesome. And just to give a hint about what we're going to talk today, I do have a question about current events. I want to see where they feel we are in terms of this great awakening from their perspective, and potential words from Laarkmaa as well. So two things I want to mention very quickly. As I've spoken about, I've aligned with this company called Purium, presenting 4 products for vaccination regret. Issues or harm, you only have to use it once. And again, my heart and my gut says these are really good. So on the homepage of my website under products, all the links and discounts are there, EdenJustBe.com, and also enter EdenJustBe if needed. Then last thing, starting March 16th, 23rd, and 30th, this is the first time I'll be doing this, leading a Zoom class specifically from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time, teaching the basics of meditation, and also, whatever you want to call it, quiet time prayer. Again, knowing that through this great awakening, just teaching people more balance. And I think meditation is the bomb, because it's just about awareness, which you can use, if you're a runner, increasing awareness there. So it's not just, we're going to sit down and learn meditation. I also can customize it to everybody, however it fits. So feel free to email me at eden@edenjustbe.com. The class will be $55, maximum of 20 people. Okay. I think I've done my work. Husband and wife, come on. Pia and Cullen. They are interstellar communicators, writers, visionaries, intuitive. Pia is also a leading expert in the divine feminine. I just learned that the other day. Together, they bring wisdom from the stars from a group of Pleiadian light beings known as Laarkmaa. Joining their energies together, Pia and Cullen transmit inspiring and heartwarming messages of love, hope, and peace. So we're going to get some of that today. They have dedicated their lives. Seriously, y'all have been doing this dedicated for a long time. Like how long would you say it's been?
Over 2 decades. And we've been doing it before we started working with Laarkmaa all of our lives. So depends on which position you want to take. We've been working with Pleiadians for about 2 decades, but we've been doing spiritual work and human evolution awakening work since we were children.
Yes. And on the last episode they were on, 41, we talk about the Christian, a Christian basis of how everyone can relate to it. And I have to, I think I've finished everything. You guys were so pivotal with some of my clients, just opening them up into possibilities. And it was so neat to see their faces when they were started to consider, I'm not by myself, that it's okay for me to really connect with interstellar beings. It was just amazing. So thank you guys for doing that and letting people know it's okay to do that as well.
Well, that's a really important topic, actually, Eden.
Yes.
It's not just working with interstellar beings. It's the ability that we all have to communicate with all species, whether that is a dog, a cat, a wild animal,
a tree.
Pia and I have been communicating with other species, as Pia said, since we were small children. And I think it was no accident that Laarkmaa decided to introduce themselves to us, because we had been doing this all along. So we all have this ability. Everybody can communicate with other energies that are not just human like us. So it's an open possibility to communicate with everybody.
Isn't that nice? Okay, what I want to start with is, before we started recording, talking about the massive shifts that are going on right now and the synchronicities. All right, okay, I want to get your perspective on this. All right, so I do research every night, just seeing what's happening in the world from a human perspective. And I have these groups that I'm with that also see it from a human perspective, but a bigger picture perspective. So the UFO sightings, which I understand a lot of them are not real, so it's called Project Bluebeam. This Ohio train accident and vinyl chloride releasing and reporters being shut up. And this has happened. It's a little over an hour from my house. And apparently, potentially, this is going to affect Ohio, Pittsburgh, or Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Arkansas, Louisiana. So I've been sending light there. So I'm curious with what you guys think about that. And then, of course, the Epstein flight log is finally going to be publicized, even though we know a lot of people who were there. The Biden laptop is heating up, COVID, the Twitter trials, like all of this stuff is just suddenly big. And then potential UFO sightings to divert the attention of the population. What do y'all think of all this?
That is a huge topic.
Yes. Okay. Let's go.
We'll start backwards with the UFO sightings. There was a video released today, and you're talking about all these things coming up and people being able to see the truth.
Yes.
There was a video released today where Von Braun, on his deathbed as he was dying, was talking to his doctor about the agenda he had been working on with others for 50 years, and how the final thing in the plan was to introduce false alien attacks to make people fearful of interstellar communication. Mm-hmm. Now, Laarkmaa has been telling us that for years, that there would be a false attack coming. And so when people started emailing us going, what's going on in the skies, what's happening, we automatically knew this is human-made. And of course, we checked with the Pleiadians, and they said, this is all man-made, and it's all part of making people afraid. So as you said, they would be distracted from what's really going on.
It's an absolute diversion of diverting attention, as both of you have just said, to allow the agenda makers to pull more tricks out of their hat and do the things they want to do, making humanity think, oh my, we have to be afraid of this and we have to be afraid of this, to grab our attention elsewhere. It's an absolute smoke and mirrors situation. And thank goodness so many people are waking up to this. So many people are realizing that every time they're fed something that doesn't feel right in their heart or in their gut, all they have to do is follow the wisdom in their hearts and realize this is a put up deal.
The key to recognizing this is when you start to feel those stirrings of fear and thinking, well, I need somebody to keep me safe. Nobody's going to keep us safe but our own integrity and our own hearts. When we use our intuition and listen to our hearts, we know what's not real and what to pay attention to and what is absolutely being shoveled at us to make us fearful. So Cullen's right. We absolutely have to listen to our hearts.
And there's so much with CGI. So also to give people a heads up too, that with CGI, it can look so real and so intimidating. Do y'all feel that there's anything happening right now in terms of UFOs that is true?
Well,
I would say absolutely in one word.
Yes, but they don't travel in little ships that are portrayed on YouTube videos. They have light ships that are energy-based. So they can be seen or not seen as they choose to be. Mm-hmm. Why would they make themselves seen in a hostile environment that's trying to make them appear as if they are attacking the species they're trying to help evolve? Mm-hmm. So they're here, that we can feel them energetically. Sometimes Cullen and I see them.
We've seen ships. We don't want to make this a controversial subject matter, but Pia and I over the years have seen ships that are so big, they take up the entire sky. And they're like cities, not just a
Right.
small vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And we've lived in places, rural, very, very far out of the way places away from cities, where we've had these experiences, and it's just normal for us. I mean, it's not
Right.
something where we go out, look up in the night sky and see something, and we're totally, absolutely surprised or captivated, because it's not new for us.
Right. So normal.
The key for us also, Eden, is that we generally feel the energy. We know they're there, and then we will go outside and look because we feel it first.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very different thing from these man-made things that are being shot in the sky that people can actually see in physical form and be frightened because they don't know what it is.
And I heard a while back too. So a former CIA gentleman was talking about that potentially the fakeness of this and the invasion, that they're going to show people being killed, and it's going to be quite dramatic. Would you guys agree with that, or the possibility of that?
They'll
Yes.
do whatever they
Yes.
can to make people feel fearful and unsafe, because the goal is to make them rely on the agenda makers for their safety, which of course won't work. That's when they annihilate us, is when we rely on them to provide our safety.
There have been numerous false films that are broadcast on the mass media television stations for years. It's not a new thing, where they're showing battle scenes in the Middle East, where they're showing a situation where there are forces that are supposed to be the good guys being attacked by the bad guys, and these are completely orchestrated, dramatically directed film footage. It's not real. But as you said earlier, Eden, it looks real.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. All right. So what do y'all think about the train wreck in Ohio?
Well, you'll have to enlighten us on what's going on with that, because we haven't heard anything about it.
Okay.
We don't know all of your news here in Europe.
Yes.
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
I'm not going to be I'm not going to know all the details, but essentially like 5 train cars crashed, and they contain a very toxic ingredient, vinyl chloride, and potentially, like, they've had the city clear out. I've seen footage of reporters trying to talk about the severity of this issue, being arrested. Potentially, it's going to affect multiple states, like, I mean, major toxicity, and just potentially very, very huge. And again, since I'm in Ohio, I just want to bring this up a little bit. Again, even though parts of this are real, if you want to call it that, what is that? Just again, to, like, for me, I'm imagining gold and glitter going to this place in Ohio. And I've seen pictures now of fish dying in the water. And again, trying, what is accurate, what is not accurate, that's a part of it as well. Yet this could potentially bring a lot of toxicity to multiple states.
Well, my first reaction about hearing this from you is it real?
Right.
Do you remember the really famous movie Close Encounters?
Yes, by Steven Spielberg. Yes.
Yes. Well, they used that same kind of experience of a train wreck with toxic material in order to divert people's attention from something greater. And although I'm not in Ohio, and although I don't really know much about this, because of what we just spoke of a few moments ago, possible that this is a made-up situation, once again, to make people fearful, to take their attention away from something else that is simultaneously being designed, which is worse than what's being depicted, in order to fool the public once again. Now, if it's a real spill, if it's a real situation, that's one thing. But my gut sense immediately is this is not real, that this is made up in order to scare people so that they can carry on some other wicked, evil circumstance somewhere else. That's just my thought on it.
Remember this, though, Eden.
Yes.
Anything harmful that happens to our species is part of the agenda, because the agenda wants to annihilate the population. The agenda's main thing is to reduce population. So if indeed it is real, it's just a little diversion of what they're trying to do with vaccinations, fake wars, all kinds of things. 5G in the sky, everything is
all of
about
it.
Cutting down the population. So even if it does turn out to be true, which I kind of feel like Cullen does, I think it's fake news. But if it does turn out to be true, look at it as this is part of the agenda, and just send love and light into the area where the fear is being spread.
Okay. And that's what I've been working on, but I really enjoy hearing y'all's perspective on it as well, because I do my best as I look at all these things coming through, just to continue being neutral and being calm. When something's really close to you and then you see this one video with, oh my gosh, all these states could be impacted. It's, and here's dead fish in the water. Ooh, again, meditating and grounding yourself and all of that. Can y'all express some of these synchronicities that you're seeing, and because there are a lot of things popping, which is great. I'm also seeing a lot of really great things. Can y'all share what you're seeing at this point?
Sure. And before we do that, I want to add one more point about
Please.
the supposed train wreck. Where did you get the news? Was that on mainstream news or on alternative?
No, alternative.
I find it a little bit suspicious that we knew nothing about it in Europe. It's not on any of the alternative news sites that we watch.
Interesting.
And I find that a little bit a curious thing. It really kind of aligns with what Cullen said initially about might very well be fake, aimed at making the American population more susceptible to whatever they're trying to do. Controllable. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have an amazing amount of alternative news outlets where we live that we think are more honest, more transparent than what's happening in other parts of the world. So if we're not seeing it here, that gives us a clue that maybe it is not as it seems.
And anybody who wants to go out and investigate this, just remember that just because there's a pile of train cars that are wrecked together at a place does not mean there was a chemical spill.
And get this, there have been 2 movies, or one that specifically a couple years ago that highlights this event specifically down to the place. And then there was another movie I just watched with a friend, because I like, predictive programming and, yeah. Okay. Got it.
That's really interesting, because we have a friend that talks to us quite often about the fact that we're being fed things in advance to be prepared so that it's already in our psyche. It's already in our memory bank that, oh, well, this happened. I saw it in a movie, so it must be true. Why would they portray it in a movie if it's not true? So what you just said, Eden, I think is incredibly insightful, because why would they show us things in advance if they're not preparing us to be scared all over again?
Yes. All right. Let's go. All right. Go ahead.
Synchronicities. You ask about some of the good things that are happening.
Yes, please.
I will tell you a story, which Cullen will corroborate. About 6 or 7 years ago, no, maybe longer than that, maybe 10 years ago, we were living in Oregon at the time. We had a very strange experience of, I was on one floor and I walked by and saw Cullen sitting in the chair, and he didn't answer me when I spoke to him. And I called out, Cullen, and he answered me from a different floor of the house.
It was a 3-story house.
It's a 3-story house. He was on the bottom story. I was on the middle story. What we realized was I was seeing an image of where he had been sitting yesterday when we had a conversation. The very next day, it happened in reverse. Cullen where were you, downstairs?
I was downstairs, I think probably in the laundry room. And I saw Pia walk by in the hall. And I said, hi, I'm just busy down here. I'll be up in a minute to do whatever we're going to be doing. And she, of course, didn't answer. And I went upstairs and found her on the 3rd floor. And she said, well, I thought we were going to meet on the middle floor. And I said, I'm sorry, I already met you on the 1st floor. And this kind of experience is happening to us.
What we wanted to go with is that happened about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Then about 6 years ago, we were living in a different state. We were in New Mexico, and I walked by myself sitting in a vehicle. I saw myself sitting in the vehicle and walked by. And boy, if you don't think that's a bit unnerving, I know that I saw a different experience from the day before, the day that was coming. Something had happened. The reason I'm bringing this up now is because it's happening again. We are now living in Europe, and 2 or 3 days ago, I was in the kitchen and Cullen walked right by me, so close he could have bumped into me, and I said something to him and I got no response, and I called out and he was in another part of the house. So we think one of the synchronistic things that's happening is that we are actually losing the sense of time. It's melting. Laarkmaa calls it liquid time. They talk about how we are not going to be associated with the past or the future. We're going to be in the now moment. And part of what's happening to make that come true for us is seeing these experiences that of something that's already happened or not yet happened, but isn't in the now moment, to make us focus more on what's here now.
So this to me is an indication of something. Pia and I don't use this term very often. It's a quite well-used term, timelines. We haven't incorporated that in the language that we use specifically, but I think this is an experience of timelines shifting or timelines bleeding between one timeline and another timeline.
Or we could call it different dimensions. That's another word.
Sure.
Moving from one dimension to another. But it's happening to us so often, it's ridiculous. We're also having things like, we'll find the tea kettle turned on and neither one of us turned it on. It just turned itself on. Or we'll have a smell in the house of toast cooking, and we have no bread in the house and we don't eat toast. And we're not close enough to any restaurants or other houses. So there's a lot of things that are coming through that we call bleed through, different dimensional experiences. And I think that's in preparation for how we're going to be living. I think it's indicative of the light that's coming into our cells because of the solar rays and because of the planetary positions of more light beaming into us right now. So there's some really good stuff happening along with the not so good stuff.
But there are also little tiny examples of synchronicities that we're noticing and people are telling us about worldwide. Things like, people always say, well, I know the phone's going to ring. I know my mom's going to call, or I know my sister's going to call. Everybody has those experiences. But we're noticing that that's ramping up and people are getting messages, whether it's a little knock on the shoulder or a word that comes through or a thought that happens, but people are experiencing things before they actually happen. And we're seeing this worldwide. And it's interesting to us because it's another example in a different way of not only liquid time, but communicating in a different way, not just the verbal way we've been taught to communicate, but actually using what people have talked about for years, ESP, extrasensory perception, being able to know what's coming or what's going to happen. And we hear these stories about people will be talking about a certain subject matter, let's say at dinner or a luncheon date, and all of a sudden a song will come up on the music PA system in that restaurant that has an exact match with what the people are talking about. There's no way on earth that some manager of some restaurant is listening to every conversation and going, oh, I think I'll turn a particular song on to surprise these people. It's not happening that way. These things are just showing up.
And some of them are a little bit unnerving, and some of them are really joyful. For instance, 2 days ago, I was in my early morning meditation and quiet. I had the daughter of a really close friend come in and say, "I'm coming to see you. I have something to tell you." Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's interesting. She never calls. I only see her when we go to her parents' house. I have no idea what that's about. That afternoon, her dad called me and said, "My daughter wants to talk to you." And she got on the phone and told me some really exciting good news that she has that she wanted to tell Cullen and me personally. So that's a really joyful connection of the intuition that's leading you, expect something. It also happens like the earthquakes that happened in Turkey.
Yes.
Cullen and I feel earthquakes in our bodies no matter where they happen on the planet. When Fukushima happened, we felt chest constriction, we were nauseous, we had lots of pain. We felt it in our bodies. 2 days before the Turkish earthquakes began, Cullen started feeling tremors. We both started getting sick. We started asking, is it 5G? Is it a satellite passing over? You know, what is causing this? Could it be an earthquake? We don't know. And then the earthquakes hit and the symptoms went away. So we know that the body tells us it's not just the intuitive knowing. The body also gives us warning, just like animals always know when there's going to be a storm or an earthquake. They know. We have that within us too. So one of the great things that's happening right now is our sensitivities in that realm are ramping up to help prepare us to keep ourselves safe and not rely on governmental institutions to keep us safe.
So I heard that the earthquakes potentially were created as well. What are your feelings on that?
We think they absolutely were triggered.
We had that thought on our own independently, and we talked to our Pleiadian friends, and they said, if you look at the evidence of the appearance of how it happened, did it start small? Did it increase? Were there aftershocks?
Can you find the epicenter?
And we did a lot of research, and there was no epicenter to be found.
There's a trench where it hit simultaneously. There's just a trench, like a long beam, which indicates maybe something was beamed into that area to cause it. And
we know that there are technologies that are capable of pinpointing places like that could incidentally cause a train wreck or an earthquake or
a weather pattern.
Any kind of disruptive situation now, unfortunately, can be caused by man-made machinery.
So knowing that you are having these physical sensations and then you see it happening in front of your own eyes, and in dealing with the aspects of this that are unnerving, how do y'all deal with that? What do you do?
Well, that's a really tough, that's a tough thing to answer, because we try not to become emotional.
Right.
We try not to be attached to the devastation of what we see happening around the world that we do believe is man created. So I think the best thing we can do is stay as calm as possible, send love and light to an area that has been affected, no matter what the situation might be, and simply not dive into that place where we are adding our own negativity through our emotions or our thought patterns that would actually make the situation worse because of worrying about it.
And sometimes this requires changing our schedule and going into intense focus on, we're going to just bring the vibration up. We're here for a reason on this planet. Let's do what we can to help the situation. So sometimes we have to rearrange things and do what's coming up is the most important. We also have to spend time going into rest and allowing our physical bodies to adapt and adjust, because there's so much going on. And we have people all the time talking to us in private sessions about, well, my digestion's no good. I'm dizzy. Can't keep my balance. I can't sleep through the night anymore. All of these symptoms are coming up and they want to know, am I sick? Is there something wrong with me? Is this 5G? Do I have COVID? What's going on? And it can be a lot of different things because we're being assaulted from so many different levels. And part of it is not just assault either. Part of it is incoming light, which is wonderful.
I know, to balance the ascension and the attack at the same time. It takes perseverance to do that.
Yes,
okay, go.
absolutely.
Please go ahead.
Because the carbon-based body is changing into a crystalline body, which is, we are water beings. And crystalline just means that we're more light-filled. That's all that means. When people talk about, oh, we're turning into crystalline bodies, I think they picture themselves turning into little quartz crystals. It makes me laugh, but it just really means we're becoming more fluid and more transparent.
And more filled with light.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, Eden. There is a balance going on between the unprecedented amount of light that's coming to this planet and its inhabitants. It's not just humans that are being affected. If we look at wildlife, bird migration is absolutely interrupted these days.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen videos of like crows and massive amounts of birds in cities. Oh yeah, please talk about that. Yeah.
Well, we've been noticing this for a couple of years, actually. Birds are acting essentially different than we've ever experienced them in our lifetimes. They're not migrating in the normal patterns at the normal times. Their mating time is no longer only in the spring. They're changing how that is occurring. We're noticing that fish populations are no longer in certain areas of the ocean. They're in different parts of the ocean where they don't normally exist. Of course, the most well-known whale and dolphin disruptions are enormous. It's incredible. We're seeing insect species that haven't been seen for decades or maybe even 100 years crawling around the earth with us that are here for who knows what reason, but have been dormant.
I think they're being activated by the intense radiation that's coming in, which is just an indication of the radiation effects on us showing up at the insect level. So we can see it in a smaller microcosm way of how it's affecting the macrocosm of all of us.
It's incredible. Do you know the caterpillars in North America and Canada? They're known as woolly bears that come out in the spring. Well, they're caterpillars that generally come out in the spring, and they're all furry. And they, of course, turn into butterflies. Well, we've had an invasion here where we live of literally, I would say, hundreds of thousands of caterpillars that should not be hatching in early to mid-February. They are a springtime experience.
And we're also experiencing going outside and seeing monarch butterflies that weren't supposed to be here, where some of the caterpillars have already transformed into a butterfly, but it's out of season.
And the lizard population.
Yeah.
We live in an area where there are just tons of lizards. We love lizards. We like watching them and sort of interacting as we can with them. And lizards hibernate. Lizards are not active in the winter months anywhere in the world. We have lizards everywhere, and we're in the middle of winter. We're not even near spring happening yet. So we're noticing that the normal biological patterns and cycles are completely interrupted on this planet. And Pia and I have watched nature. We are such lovers of nature. We've been involved with watching, looking, helping nature all of our lives. We've never seen this kind of change ever in our lives.
There's also personal messages that are increasing coming from the animal kingdom. And it really takes a lot of quiet thought to figure out what the message is. I was working in the office today and I have a big window, and a hawk came screaming by the window, making its noise that is like a scream that hawks do. And I looked up and saw it flying by. It circled the window, and then it came back and it put its beak right up to the window, spread its wings out totally like this, and hovered.
No way.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
That is not typical hawk behavior.
Right.
And when I told Cullen about this, he said, "Did you ask the hawk what the message was?" And I said, "Yes, but the only thing I got was pay attention. Something urgent's coming."
I got the same sense. I said to Pia, it's a warning.
It is. It's clearly a warning. So we're back to that place again of, well, we have a sign, we have a warning, we need to be prepared. We don't know what it is, but something's coming. So take a couple of deep breaths, plant your feet on the ground, and get ready.
Exactly, because what else can you really do except obviously move into fear, which that is the point of all of this. So in terms of watching the animals, knowing that this is not the typical pattern, again, just going, okay, well, look at this, things are changing, versus, oh my gosh, what's going on? And these butterflies are, and the lizards are coming out. Just, okay, just chill out. It's just things are happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the best attitude by far. Instead of reacting or attaching to, uh-oh, what's wrong here? Just saying to yourself, any of us, all of us, saying, well, gee, this is different. Let's see what's going to happen next.
And not expecting anything to be the way it always has been, because nothing will. Even physical appliances, Eden, which are electromagnetic and either plugging into the wall with electricity or magnetics with their metal, even those are being affected because their magnetosphere is changing. And all of a sudden things are breaking, or they're not working the same as they used to. So even at that level, things are changing.
We were on a pre-show conversation a week or so ago, doing sound checks and just sharing with the technical folks that help us do what we do. And someone brought up the fact that their refrigerator broke, their toilet broke, their snowblower broke. And we all, there were a number of us on this call together, and everybody was saying, that's exactly what's happening to us. It's not a snowblower for us, it's a lawnmower, but the toilet broke, the refrigerator broke, something wrong with the car. And we put together that this is worldwide. We were talking to people on 3 continents on that call. And we were all having, within a day or two, the same mechanical problems.
So it's global. It has to do with the magnetosphere, which is becoming weaker and weaker and more filled with plasma. And so therefore we are not in the same environment that we are accustomed to as a species, changing rapidly.
This is very exciting. Even though we're talking about, some things that are not considered so great, it is, I'm just getting vibes all through. Exciting. Hey, I do want to ask, okay, this is taking a turn for just a second. Considering this is Valentine's Day, and a lot of my clients specifically, relationships are crumbling. As we know, the truth within relationships is coming to the surface. Narcissism, almost like to give all of these folks just a word from you guys, similar to what we've been talking about. Like, there's all this chaos that's coming, being calm, knowing that you will get through this storm. And with relationships, I mean, it is everything. It's your life, it's your being, it's your, what advice would you give? And these are mostly women that I'm working with right now.
I would say to allow people to follow their own path, accept the good that you've had in the relationship, give them your blessing to do whatever they need to do, and honor their path, because they've got some karmic lessons to learn, or they've got something to achieve, or they have something that's related to their own evolution that's bigger than the relationship.
This is a great topic in question right now, because we're also seeing this in a wholesale way worldwide. And traditionally, couples often get to a point where one of the members of the couple zooms ahead in their evolution, in their development, and the other member of the couple doesn't. They are stuck in their either comfort zone or discomfort zone, and they're not moving ahead or along as their partner is. And we've seen that forever. I mean, the whole psychological situation with humans has been showing us that forever. But at this point, things are evolving so quickly. And you said a moment ago, Eden, people are evolving. And so there's no accident that people are moving in different directions, as Pia said a moment ago. And what I want to add to what Pia said, I think what we have to do is allow people to be themselves, allow them to evolve at their own pace, at their own rate, give them as much compassion as possible. And if it's possible to continue to communicate in a way that's loving, compassionate, helpful, do that.
And that means stop pointing the finger of blame, saying, look how you're hurting me. And, let it go. Yes, you're experiencing pain and disappointment. That's part of a relationship change when you've had something glorious and wonderful and connective. And if it's not meant to be right now, then just be grateful that you had it and release your blame for anything that's going wrong and just go, I guess I have to work through this because I need to grow. And I guess he needs to work through this because he's got some stuff he's working on, and be at peace with it as best you can.
None of us, if we are here at this time as humans on this planet, are finished with our work. We all have personal work to do. And that is part of the goodness of who we are and why we're here, is to continue to develop, to continue to evolve. And relationships are no different than nations that aren't getting along. It's the same energy of, I know my way is better than your way. I know what I know is the best way. And what we have to do is step away from that and realize, and this is something that our friends Laarkmaa have said for a long time, it's both humorous and deep at the same time. Maybe there are two rights instead of a right and a wrong. Maybe both of us can be right, but in a different way. And if we can bring those two different ways together in a more balanced way, then we've achieved something in our personal evolution individually, but also as a couple. Maybe we need to be more patient with each other. Maybe we need to be more supportive of each other and see how each of us is growing. And maybe the possibility of creating a much stronger bond or a much stronger relationship is right around the corner.
There's a thing, Cullen and I just wrote an article about contracts, because there's a thing that humans have been told for a long time about, we have contracts to fulfill. And oftentimes people think of their marriage contract as, that's a contract, I promise till death do us part. But even though you make that promise till death do you part, when something has died in the relationship, that death has happened. And it's time to find a new contract, which may mean I need to fall in love with myself. I need to grant my partner freedom, but there needs to be a new contract created because the energy has changed. We have an article, I just said, Cullen and I just wrote it. It'll be coming out in Sedona Journal in April. But if people are interested in looking at our perspective on that, look for the Sedona Journal in April and you'll see it.
So on the tails of what Pia just said, I want to make a proposal.
Oh, let's hear it.
I propose today on Valentine's Day that we become our own Valentine.
Amen to that.
There is such an enormous circumstance around not loving ourselves as much as we need to love ourselves. We are told through many, many different institutions, religions, that we should love everyone else first. And then if we have a tiny amount of energy left, maybe then we can love ourselves. We need to reverse that pyramid. We need to love ourselves first. And it's not a selfish act.
Right.
It is definitely for the best and the highest good of all. If we become our own best Valentine, then we can become a better Valentine for everyone else.
And that's so hard for people to understand. But once they start on that path and feeling it, then there's this understanding and this feeling that comes in. Can I ask you guys, and feel free to say, y'all as a couple, can you tell us a little bit about that? How did that come to be?
How we started?
Yes.
It's a fun story. Do you want to start?
Oh.
Well,
I'll start. I'll start. I was on an Ayurvedic cleansing process where I had to be at a center for 2 weeks doing this internal cleanse on a special diet. And on my way home, which I lived in another state, I stopped off to have lunch with a friend. And my friend looked at me after lunch and said, "You look tired. Why don't you stay at our extra apartment tonight? My wife and I have room. Just stay here and you can leave tomorrow." And I said, "Okay."
Okay,
Then
give me an idea. How long ago was this?
About 2 decades.
2 decades
right
ago.
before
Okay.
Laarkmaa came to us, because they came to us the minute we cemented our relationship.
No way.
Yeah, they did. That's another
Okay.
story. But anyway, our friend, just before he said goodnight, he said, "I think you might want to walk up this street. There's a gallery up here I think you'll really find interesting, and it's important that you go there." Little did I know he had directed me to Canyon Road in Santa Fe, where all the galleries are on both sides of the street. You know, could have been any one, but I stopped at a particular gallery because I was entranced with something in the window.
So
Your turn.
Was it you, Cullen?
was.
She was entranced with you. You were in the window.
Well,
His energy,
she
maybe.
thinks it was an object, but I think you're hitting on something, Eden. So I was in one of these strange states where I was trying to be retired from a very long professional lifestyle.
So had y'all been married before?
You mean,
Had each of you been?
each of us has been married to other people before, but we've also been married to each other more than once too.
Got it.
Not because we broke up, but because in Europe they wouldn't accept our American marriage license, and we had to get remarried.
No
that's
way.
That's
Oh
another
my
story.
gosh. Okay. Wow.
So
All right.
So this is Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah.
The place Pia was at was a meditation retreat where she met her friend that owned the meditation retreat. It was just down the street from the famous Canyon Road in Santa Fe. I was taking a break from my career, and I helped a friend open an art gallery. And that night, this was I believe a Friday night, Saturday night.
I don't remember.
It was
An important night.
It was beyond opening hours. I think it was 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the evening. I had been in a pretty bad rear end car accident the night before. I was not very happy with my body. I had been in the gallery for 10 or 12 hours. I was locking the front door, and the person that actually owned the gallery, although I was really the impetus behind the gallery, but the guy that owned it was sitting at the business desk, and I was locking the door and I was throwing the keys to him. They were his keys, not mine, my set. And he said, "No," he said, "There's someone outside. I think you need to open the door." And I said, "Michael, it's 8 o'clock. I don't feel well. I need to meditate or eat or go to bed. I need to do something other than be in here." He said, "No, I think you need to open the door." And I said, "No way." And I started walking. This was a huge 400-year-old double adobe building. It had a number of apartments in it. And I lived in one of the apartments, as he did, separately. And I said, "No, I'm going." And he said, "No." He said, "Open the door." And I said, "You open the door. I'm going." And he goes, "No." He threw the keys at me. For some reason, I opened the door. Here is this person peeking in the window. And I said, "Hi, would you like to come in?" With my best fake smile. And she said, "No." She said, No, you're closed. It's too late." And I said, No, it's okay. Come in." She gave in. She came in. I followed her around for 45 minutes. I could not let go of being with her energy.
And
wow.
Since he had brought me in, I needed to buy something. So this was indicative of how our relationship has always gone.
This was a high-end Native American Antiquities Gallery, really beautiful, expensive material.
There were two beautiful baskets that I was trying to decide between, and I asked him to put them on the counter and let me look. And as I was trying to decide, I asked him, which one would you choose? And he said, well, I like this one because of the geometric designs. And I immediately, without blinking an eye, said, I'll take the other one. I like the colors. And that's marker of our relationship since that moment of how opposite we are. But anyway, he wrapped up the sale for me, and I said, would you like to go for a walk with me?
Whoa.
This is an hour later.
Yeah.
It's getting dark.
And you just had that car experience the day before, and you were like, and you said
So
yes.
I looked at Pia and I said, sure. So we went for a walk along the Santa Fe River, which is in the middle of Canyon Road. We walked for a couple of hours. We ended up back down at the retreat center where she was. We sat at a rickety old picnic table and we talked way into the night. It was a new moon, the time for new beginnings. We talked and talked and talked and talked. And I said, it's getting late. You have an 8-hour drive tomorrow. And Pia said, well, I don't really want to stop. And I said, I don't either. We talked a little bit more. And my back sitting on this hard wooden bench was really beginning to hurt. And I said, it's probably time to go. We stood up and hugged each other. I mean, we didn't even know each other. We hugged each other. And I said, that's not a very good hug. And Pia said, I don't want to hurt your back. And I said, hug will help my back, believe me. So she gave me a real hug. We parted company.
After exchanging addresses to write, not emails, addresses.
I told Pia that I wasn't computer literate, which all these years later, I'm still not computer literate. I said, I am a marvelous letter writer. And I said, I will write you. And she said, I will write you back.
4 days later, I still didn't have a letter. I'm a bit impatient. So I wrote him a letter, and our letters crossed in the mail. And that 6.5 months of writing every single day. I was working a 90-hour-a-week job, taking care of 2 elderly parents, volunteering at the local prison, helping the women prisoners there because I'm a psychologist. I was doing all this work, and I started my day every day with stopping at the post office to get his letter. And then I'd go do my work and I'd come home. I'd drop off my letter to him. And then I'd come home and pick up his letter. I said that backwards.
Yeah.
So I dropped my letter off to him, went to work, came home, picked up his letter, made myself a cup of tea and some dinner, read his letter, and wrote my response and did it again the next day.
So this went on for 6.5 months.
Yeah.
And this is a long story we're telling you.
Almost done.
I hope this is okay. So the funny thing is, well, this whole thing is pretty funny, but Pia didn't give me her phone number that first night of meeting each other, which I thought was interesting. So after 6.5 months, I wrote a very terse, short note. And I said, is there anything wrong with communicating by phone? And 2 days later, I get 3 phone numbers.
And so he called me, and when he called me, I had an appointment scheduled, and I said, I really want to talk to you, but I can't.
She had a consultation.
I have a consultation, and he said, tomorrow's your birthday. Are you free to talk? And I said, yes. And he said, I'm calling you tomorrow on your birthday. And I said, okay. So he called me the next day, and the very first words out of his mouth were, I love you. Will you spend the rest of your life with me?
Okay, wait. Can I, just a moment. Y'all are 8.5 hours away from each other. 6.5 months of only letter writing, no phone calling, no exchanging phone numbers at all.
Nothing.
Right.
Wow. And then, I love you. Want to spend the rest of my life with you. What, do you agree?
I said yes. And we have been evolving together ever since.
And to just end this long, long story that you asked us to tell, I hope your listeners were enjoying this because it's a little boring, but
it's not.
We are absolutely 180 degrees diametrically opposite of each other. We see everything from a different perspective, a different point of view. Of course, our understanding of love, the cosmos, our worldview is identical. Mm-hmm. But in our outer personalities, we are absolutely opposite. I bring everything in from the outside in, and Pia brings everything from the inside out. And we are one of those couples that are so different that it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So complimentary.
Yes.
So complimentary. All right. With that story, what would you say about love? I know that's a big question, but I feel like embarking that to you both.
I think that relationships are the greatest teaching ground in the world, learning unconditional love, because when you're in a relationship with somebody,
yes,
the love can go deeper and deeper and deeper as you learn more and more acceptance of who they are, honoring of what they want and what they need, and self-assertion, standing up for what you want and what you need. They're great grounds for deepening. I would say if you want true love, you have to work for it, because what comes in the first blushes is going to bring challenges also. And those challenges are there to help you deepen. And I would have to say we've done a pretty good job with that.
I would say absolutely. Love / relationship is the most educational possibility on this planet for human beings. There's no doubt. We trigger each other, and I mean everyone, not just Pia and me. We trigger each other. We develop each other. We challenge each other. Love is the medium for growth. There's no other possibility of any other element other than love to achieve that. Love is the most powerful, the most supreme energy in the universe. It is what makes the universe spin in its spiraling way of growing and ascending and evolving. And
it's also the energy that we're going to use collectively together to defeat the agenda and all the fear that they're trying to put out in the world. Love will annihilate that.
Love is always the element that wins. It's always, and it's not a contest. When I say the word win, I don't mean competitively. I mean in an overwhelming, supportive, heartfelt, heart-developed way.
Laarkmaa likes to say, invite the dark back into the light, because they've just forgotten their way. And if you do that with love, you can invite the dark back in. It's not trying to kill the dark. It's inviting it to come home, come back into love, come back into the light.
Whether greed or avarice or power or whatever the dark decided to utilize in order to do what it does, it simply forgot that those aren't the attributes that we really want to share, or we really want to develop. It just forgot.
And the Great Awakening is moving into love, but it's not, like you said, excuse me, obliterating the darkness, but it's creating harmony within it all. And when you guys were talking about love, just everything, and y'all have given me permission for the practice coming up to do Laarkmaa's heart meditation. Is that correct? A heart meditation, which I think is just so awesome. Is there anything you guys would like to close this out with? Because I felt this in my body that, everything we talked about was perfect. Is there anything else y'all would like to bring to the table today?
I would say follow Cullen's suggestion today on Valentine's Day and every day. Be your own Valentine, because as you learn to love yourself and empower yourself, you have so much love and light to give to the world. It's such a beautiful gift when you love yourself and can spread that love outward to other people. And love will conquer all that needs to be invited back home again.
Nice. Okay. I think that's great. All right, y'all, I'm going to say goodbye after I turn the video off. But again, thanking you immensely for all of your contributions to all of this, and knowing y'all are doing such hard work. I watched one video with someone else, and y'all were talking about we're getting to the point where it'd be nice to take a break. So just know that we are sending energy your way and are so darn appreciative of everything you do. And thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for allowing us to be part of this conversation, because what we're creating, all of us, that are working with the light, working with hope, working with trust, working with love. It is absolutely a combined effort. What we're doing is we're showing the world and the universe what unity consciousness is all about. And that is probably our biggest job, is not only to love ourselves, but to create this together, because we can do what we do individually, but it grows, right, and it gets much, much stronger when we do this together. So we're appreciative of what you're doing by bringing people to the public to have these conversations, because they're immensely important.
Awesome. All right. Immensely important, y'all. Okay. Bye. I'm going to cut off recording, but y'all don't go yet.
Bye.
Just be practice.
We would like to invite you to help us, if you choose, to restore the heart of humanity through an exercise with color. We would like to remind you, as we work with this, what the energy vibrations of each color resonate with and how you may utilize that energy. We will lead you through the exercise and ask you to visualize what you can. You are going to begin with recognizing the energy of the heart. The energy of the heart needs to be placed back into humanity. It has been suppressed, ignored for too long. It is time, with the power of love, that the energy of the heart comes to its rightful place as the leader of humanity. So begin in any way that you choose by seeing the pink light of love in a ball of energy in front of you. Feel that ball of pink light in front of you. That is the love from your heart, and that is the love from the universe. And it is yours. And as you recognize it, and as you feel the energy of that pink light of love, you can begin to feel tingles through your body. You can feel a resonance with love energy. Remember, from love energy, no fear can exist. See the pink light of love emanating all around, as if you hold it in your hands in front of you. See it moving into your heart and back from your heart, and see it moving out across the planet and into the heavens. See it going into the heart of every human being on this planet. Take a moment and breathe in the pink light of love, and breathe it out, sending it to the heart of each human on earth. We will ask Cullen and Rebecca to tone briefly, using the vibratory sound that opens the heart. We will tone with them, and you may join us if you choose, while you are holding this ball of pink, energetic love light. Use the tones to help carry the love and light you are sending into the heart of every human on earth.
Feel that energy vibrating through you, and know that you are loved and that you are love. And as your focus is softly gazing at the pink light, notice that there is a blue light surrounding the pink. It is the energetic vibration of trust, for trust is built upon love. See that soft blue light radiating around the ball of energy you're holding in your hand. Pink in the center, blue around it. Feel the energy of trust permeating every cell of your being. You feel calm. You feel peaceful. That is the energy of trust. And as you feel that within yourself, look for us. We always represent ourselves as blue waves, so that you may trust that we bring you truth. Our energy carries the energy of trust, along with the energy of love. See that blue, wavy energy around the pink ball that you hold, and then begin to send those blue waves out across the planet to each human heart that is filled with the pink light of love. Surround that energy now with the blue light of trust, so that they may feel what it feels like to be safe, to be calm, to trust. Take a few moments and send that to all of your brothers and sisters across the planet, and send it into your own heart as well. The blue energy of trust. Now look, and you will see the golden light of grace radiating down from the heavens, from the universe, into the ball that you are holding in front of you. Pink love light at the center, trust around it, and golden light of grace beginning to radiate, so that you see waves of gold surrounding the blue. This is the energy that releases all karma. This is the energy of grace. This is the energy that Christ consciousness taught and Mary Magdalene taught, that when you have love and trust, grace can erase everything. Allow the golden light of grace to enter into your own heart. Feel it, knowing that you have choice to take responsibility with the energy of grace to what comes next. Send the golden light of grace out to each human heart across the planet, freeing them from the binding ties of karma, allowing the grace to remove them from the pain and suffering, so that they begin to understand how to be different. Send the golden light of grace into each heart. It shimmers and vibrates. It is beautiful. Send it with love and trust. Grace for all of humanity. Now see the green healing light. Beautiful, brilliant emerald green. It is all around the waves of gold, so that you have pink in the center, surrounded by blue, surrounded by gold, and there is green, now that you have the energy of love, trust, and grace, you can begin to heal. So heal yourselves, dear ones. Invite in the healing energy to heal every split between you and other, every split between heart and mind, every split between right and wrong, every split between my way and your way. Allow the green energy to radiate healing until there is no more separation. There is only unity. And unity is big enough to hold all aspects so that each human being can follow their path without conflict, using love, trust, and grace. Now send that green healing light from yourself forward into all humans across the planet. Send it with the intention that it heal all splits of my country, your country, all splits of my oil, your oil, my money, your money, all splits between I'm right and you're wrong, all splits between my God and your God, all splits between brain and heart, all splits between you and me. Send that green healing energy out to all of humanity. Send your intention on your breath. With love, trust, and grace, may each human being heal. Now, dear ones, notice a brilliant yellow light shining down on you. Notice also the same light, brilliant yellow, is coming out of your own heart, for it is your divine spark, and it is connected with the light of illumination from the universe. Illumination, this is what the Christ consciousness was bringing to humanity. The illumination to see the truth. Look at the yellow light. It is brilliant, and it illuminates your way so that you can see how to be fully present in each present moment, listening, looking, and taking responsibility for everything you think, everything you feel, and everything you do, so that it resonates in unity for the highest good of all. Feel the golden light from grace reaching out and touching the green light of healing, and then touching into the yellow light of illumination. They are connected. When you heal, because you have accepted grace, you can become illuminated. And when you are illuminated, you can see the truth. Send that beautiful yellow light forward into each human heart, so that each human heart may experience the love, the trust, the grace, the healing, and the illumination. See that reaching each human heart, from your heart to theirs, and from the universe into each of you, helping you to awaken to who you are, the new beings. the new humanity. Now, dear ones, notice the brilliant white Christ light, the light of truth, shining into your heart, surrounding, radiating all around this ball of energy you are holding in front of you. The white light of truth that you have reached, moving from love to trust, through grace to illumination, to truth with healing. Notice that it is all there, all around you. And send forth into the heart of every human being the white light of truth, so they may dispel all of their belief systems and all of their patterns of behavior, instead moving into the simplicity of the foundation that all humans are one, and that you are divine beings of love, who have the capacity to trust one another, to be compassionate with one another, to support one another with love. Send forth the white light of truth, so that all may awaken if they choose. Now, dear ones, we approach the final color. It is the violet light of transformation. See it radiating around the ball of energy you hold in front of you. It is waving all around. It is the energy of transformation. It is the energy of transmutation. With this energy, you can change anything. This is the energy of change. See it all around you. Send forth into each human heart across the planet the ability to change, the ability to transcend their beliefs, the ability to transmute old patterns of behavior and to be different. Send the violet light of love to each human heart so that they may experience it. Now notice, if you will, that you have a radiating ball of 7 colors in front of you. It is a torus. It is the energy of the human heart. It is time, dear light workers, that you take this energy and you place it back in its rightful place for the heart of humanity. As you send this torus of energy out to each human heart on the planet, you are awakening the heart of all, and you are sending the energy back where it belongs. Send this forth with love and trust. The pink light of love, the blue light of trust, the golden light of grace, the green light of healing, the yellow light of illumination, the white light of truth, the violet light of transformation. Send it forth, and as you send it, you will see spark of lights all across the planet. These are the light workers who are connecting with you through silver cords of threads of connection of light, weaving a web, a net to hold you as you create the form for the new humanity. We love you. Remember this exercise, for it is helping you to awaken to who you are, and use it to bring peace to your world. We love you. Good always.
So cool of you to be here. I went from being off most social media to being on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, True Social, and you might be watching this on YouTube, Rumble, or BitChute. Or you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm on over 19 directories at this point. So connect, comment, subscribe, like. Oh, and my intention is to have a new episode out Wednesday of each week. Oh, Lordy, more to come.